Hi, I'm Claudia Fox. I created this show because I have been successful without a college degree. And in this today's world, there are so many people that cannot go to college. A lot of the teens got kind of behind in their work because of the pandemic, and parents lost jobs. So it's become a huge expense. And people are just, generally speaking, getting much more savvy about learning a trade or learning to do something that they're passionate about and turning that into an income. A while back, I wrote a book, and it was interviewing people who are successful without a degree. At that time, it was not well accepted. People were just like, no, we do not want to hear this. But of course, the pandemic changed many, many things, and this is one of them. Schools now are interested in my book because it helps those teens who are not going to college find a path. And we all know from watching the news and television programs that teens, when they don't have a purpose, when they don't have a goal or something to aspire to, they get depressed and oftentimes turn to drugs. That's just a reality. So we've lost some special teens because they don't have a path, a career path. Now, normally, I interview people who have not gone to college, but I have a friend who actually taught me how to play pickleball, and I just love her dearly. She has degrees, but when in talking to her, I found she had so much added value from her perspective of what she would not have done and what she would have done instead. And she was successful. So today, I am happy to present to you Diana Markowitz, who lives in my complex, is a successful person, a wife, and a mother, and just an all-around happy, fun person.
Thank you.
So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here.
I'm delighted. I'm just delighted. So first, would you just tell me a little bit about your background? Anything that you can add?
Sure. I grew up in Queens, New York, and in the area that in the location where I lived at the time I was young, the thought was, it wasn't even a thought. It was not will you go to college? The question was, which college? So first, I'm not going to talk about myself in junior high, but the first time that I rushed things was I passed some test, as a number of people did, and I skipped 8th grade.
Oh.
So I liked that. I figured, this is good. I'll be able to get out in the real world earlier. My parents did want me to go to college. I didn't question it. It seemed the thing to do then. And they let me go only to the City University of New York, local schools, perfectly fine. And I, for some reason, really set in my mind a desire to just get out of college and enter the workforce. So I went to school. I took the maximum number of courses, got a lot of credits, went into summer school, and I graduated a semester early. So I really didn't know what I wanted to do in school. So many women at Queens College took education courses, and that is not the direction I wanted. I didn't necessarily want to be a teacher. It just was so common. I wanted psychology, and I wanted industrial psychology. But then I heard that you needed advanced education for that. So I became one of those many women, and I graduated college as an education major.
Okay.
But there were no jobs, and I did not think geographically big at that time. So I realized, since I liked psychology and I liked imparting knowledge as perhaps an educator, let me go into human resources. That was my ultimate goal. But when I graduated college, there were no jobs in human resources. So I joined a very large advertising firm, a worldwide advertising firm, in a small department, and I was a secretary. So that is not what I rushed to do, but my options were very narrow at the time. And back then, the concept of possibly moving out of my family's home or even driving to work it didn't exist. So I only could get a job in Manhattan. Well, I ultimately got a job in human resources, but it took a while to get there. And that's my background.
Well, secretary was very common. Like when you're my age, way back when,
Right.
That's the first job I got. That's what women did.
Right.
So I remember thinking, I am going to get out of this niche by hook or by crook. I just need to get another title
Yes.
other than secretary.
Right.
That was the focus. I almost didn't care what I did. So I really understand the options were not that great. It's the times. It was the times. But you did go to college, and you did do a very successful career path for yourself. So I'm thrilled to hear about that. And that had nothing to do with college, correct?
Right. Well,
Or did it?
Well, in the middle of some of these lower level jobs, I was a secretary and then an administrative assistant. It's the same thing.
Right.
So I was in these big corporations in Manhattan, but I realized I'm too young to just stay in this role that I didn't want to. So I left the workforce, and thankfully for my mother's generosity, I went to CW Post College and got a 64-credit master's in guidance counseling. I really know that in my gut, I would have loved a job like that. But I guess the family mindset at that time was very geographically narrow, I say again. And I regret to say now, and this is why I'm speaking from poor choice experience. I have a master's degree in guidance counseling. I had a teaching degree. I did not use either degree for 5 minutes. And it was not a good decision based on several things, but because I had tunnel vision in a sense and just wanted to rush and get out there, it is not what I would recommend today to somebody. I did have a very fulfilling career for most of my working life in human resources, but you did not need any degrees at that time. An example, the best way I could say this is I was in the corporate side, I was in executive search, I also was working for an employment agency. In that employment agency, the thing that mattered is not your education, but it was your capacity to work very hard and diligently it was in a sense a sales-oriented job, because I had to find jobs, I had to cold call, and it was a numbers game. The more you call companies, the greater the potential of getting someone who wants to use your agency. Mm-hmm. I also had to find candidates, and this leads to what I think one of the most important qualities. It is not a college degree. It is what is within you. It is grit. I heard that word recently. It was a book written about the word grit. And I see that as a very important quality. To have a goal, to pursue something, whatever it is, and to stay on that course. And I try living my life, in a sense, now with that attitude. Things don't happen immediately. I looked for jobs, and I didn't think of a career at that time. You really, it is developing your mind and your heart to commit to a path that's right for you. As you said before, it could be as a laborer. It could be as somebody who needs a certification or schooling. But the laugh is, my family was so concerned about, it was a given that I would go to college. And meanwhile, at least one family friend who took his carpentry talents, made it into a career, did not go to college. He was the one that retired first. He was the one that retired with amazing benefits. He is the one that worked and loved what he did. So it backfired for me. And certainly today, if I were to give advice to anybody, it would be not to rush through things. Don't think of just a job. Think of a career. Work your hardest, and don't think that I'm sorry. I will say one thing. When I was a recruiter, young applicants were so concerned. What is the salary of the job? What is the salary? And maybe it was a choice of my job that had maybe a lower salary, but an excellent benefits package. But they didn't see this. They only wanted to know, what's the salary? What do I get paid every week? I recommend that anyone think of the entire compensation package. Like I said, maybe my friend's husband, the carpenter, didn't make as much money as I did at times, but his benefits package was amazing, not just as he worked, but it was amazing in his retirement. Wow. You really have to think things through.
Yeah. I understand, as a teenager, that I remember I just wanted to know how much I made.
That's right.
And that way I could get out of the house and support myself. And I didn't really think, it just wasn't a conversation in my home. We had 6 kids.
Wow.
Now, the boys were slotted for college. I mean, yes, the boys went, the girls didn't, because my father said, you're just going to get married and have babies anyway. So I was determined not to do that part. So I waited quite a while. But to think of a career path, I think now the high schools are paying more attention to the teens that aren't going to college. They have courses on how to learn how to work with drones, for example. Wow. So I'm pleased that that's happening, and I'm pleased that they're so much more open. Now, with your two girls, you have two lovely girls. I have met them. How did you talk to them about career paths growing up?
Again, it wasn't. They did not have areas that they wanted to flourish in, such as, they did not have such talents that they could make a career. They did not express a desire to us. They too went to college. We didn't force the point. We would have been very open if they picked a different direction, but since they didn't, and they went to college. This is an interesting thing. They both went to state universities. My father gave me City University of New York. I gave them State University. My husband and I gave them state universities. My older daughter first thought she wanted to go into hospitality and switch gears. This was college. She didn't know what. She was really struggling with what major do I pick? It was really a hard thing. She ultimately became a Spanish and Latin American studies major.
Wow.
So she spent a semester in Barcelona, but she was not fluent. So it worked out. I helped her get a job because I knew someone at the local bank, and it helped that she knew Spanish. So she took a part-time teller's job. She was the only person, except for the high-level administrators in that branch, to have gone to college. But I will not say college had any bearing on her becoming successful. Yeah. And right now, she stayed in the financial services field, and she is a very successful person, and she has a lot of grit. My younger daughter went to a college that specialized, it was really known as an education school. You go there and you become a teacher. She did not want teaching. I was not going to force her to do something she didn't. She studied science, and she wanted to have a career in the environment. She even moved out west. Very hard to get a career in environmental science. And then right at the time of the pandemic, she didn't know what to do. What do I do? Do I come home? She was really not getting a permanent job. So through my husband's suggestion, she had a special intense program with the City University, and she is now a special education teacher. So timing is everything. She had to take additional courses because she didn't have the undergraduate degree in that field at the time. But, I was not going to say I was not going to dictate to them what to do.
So I would say your message is grit, which means to me you find something, you put your passion into it, and then you go for it. And it has nothing to do with college or non-college. It's really something inside you that you get in touch with. So perhaps teens should, work with their guidance counselors at schools to try to find something that lights them up in the morning when they get up and gives them that, the endorphins to have a great day doing something that they like to do. And also what I took from what you said is you might have done things differently.
Very differently.
College was not the thing for you, but you gave your girls choices. And I really, respect you for who you are, what you've done with your life, taking the time also to be a mother, and now grandmother, knowing how much you love that. I mean, when you're a teen, you just don't think ahead like this, so you might take Diana's advice and really find something that you love to do.
I would, I would like to say two other things, please.
Sure.
One thing is, from a recruiter standpoint, because I spent 25 years in that capacity, it was my decision. I interviewed people, and it was my decision, do I pass them on to the hiring folks? And many times there are several very good applicants, but I highly recommend, as somebody that went through this day in and day out, I highly recommend that when interviewing with a company, you put your best foot forward, you prepare for the interview, you show interest. I've had candidates, when I asked them, do you have any questions? Their question was about how much vacation time do I get, how much money. That was not the time to say these things.
No.
The question should be, you should do some research before you interview. No matter what level job, show these people that you want to be part of their team, that you know about their industry, that you want to add value. That's one thing I'll say. And I had a friend, her son was a very self-confident young guy. He did a summer internship. He did go to college. He got into a very large accounting firm for a summer internship through his father. He did not get the summer internship. Mm-hmm. Feedback came back that he was ill-prepared and he didn't know anything about the company. Fast forward, he had another chance for an interview, and I could say that at the age of 38 now, he is a partner in that worldwide accounting firm because he showed that he is serious, he is committed, he is preparing himself, and it could add value. So that's what I have to say. But when I interviewed people, if there were two similar candidates, I always went for the one, even if that person had a little less experience. Experience can be taught. Mindset, attitude cannot be taught. You either have it in you or not. And even those times that you don't think an employer is observing you or thinking about, they see everything. Right. Just always be on your best behavior and have patience.
Thank you so much, Diana. And just a couple things you can ask questions-wise. What did the person do before me that you liked? Right. Is there a chance for promotion? How do you promote? Think of questions ahead of time, and always, always go to the website of the company and read about the company so that you can, have a conversation where you're knowledgeable. So those are my tips to add to Diana's wisdom and wise words. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you'll join us for the next show. Have a great day.